I want to touch on a couple of things. We've got so much to get through. But from what I understand, there's this huge race. Who's going to dominate in Africa? Whether it's China, whether it's Russia, the US kind of seems like it's perhaps out of the game and it's using leverage and so forth. Do you think there's a race to try and secure critical mineral supply? And do you think there is a different agency in Africa where we're going, listen, we've got leverage right now?
Sure. I think the answer is simple. Who's going to dominate in Africa? Africans are going to dominate in Africa. I think, as the president said, leadership is most important. And for me, I believe that progressive, social, democratic radicalism is important. And it's not just terms. Progressive because we live in a completely different age today. We saw in the opening panel where we were in 2000, 2020 is different from today. So the policies have to be different. The reforms, the institutions have to be different. We have to be progressive. Social democratic because if it works only for a few, the rest of the world is going to be affected. Inequities cannot drive our development. The infrastructure we put has to work for everyone. And radical because frankly, with the demographic that you spoke about, with the reality that you just highlighted, the status quo and the time in which these things happen must not remain. We need radically new solutions. So leadership, yes, but I believe it is progressive, social democratic radicals that will dominate in Africa, and they will be Africans.
Please subscribe to my new YouTube channel CLIN and hit the notification bell to be notified for new videos.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leone. I'm an anchor and correspondent at CNN. I'm the host of a show called Connecting Africa, as well as a show called Marketplace Middle East. And I think it's really important that our first panel this morning at this conference is focusing on the African economic revolution. I'd like to welcome my guests, and then I'd like to share with you some numbers that I think will put the African continent into incredible perspective. A big welcome to His Excellency Dr. David Monina Sangye, Chief Minister, Prime Minister of Sierra Leone, first ever Chief Innovation Officer. Those claps, yes? He is incredible, he's a powerhouse. Also former Basic and Senior Secondary Education Minister for Sierra Leone. Incredible to have you with us. His Excellency Akinwumi Adesina, President of the African Development Bank. Welcome, sir. And Tony Elumelu, founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation and chairman of Heirs Holdings, which is an incredible conglomerate touching every single sector in many African countries. So ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for my fantastic guests this morning. Your Excellency, Chief Minister, I want to talk about Sierra Leone, and it's a really fascinating country, dealt with the Ebola crisis, decades of civil war, ended in 2002. We've seen incredible changes in terms of the poverty levels. We've seen huge shifts. You're one of the most fascinating people, and you're leading an important segment within government. You were also the former Chief Innovation Officer. And the important question is, Sierra Leone in a changing world, in a new context, what does that mean, and how are you looking at the future and an economic revolution, whether that's attainable?
Thank you so much. I do think, by the way, just picking up on where the president left, when we speak about risk, it's a language that we also use. We speak about the youth bulge, we speak about resource curse. We can change the language often to reflect the opportunities and the realities on the ground, and which is why this panel is so important, because we can speak about the new economic revolution from our perspective. The progress we've seen in Sierra Leone has been largely driven by the kind of leadership that we have. His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio has made it a point to invest in human capital. So the reforms that we have seen in education, the reforms that we've seen in gender, the reforms that we've seen in good governance have all slowly been adding up, and you can see the dividends beginning to pay off quite quickly. One of the most critical things that we've done is we've focused on inclusion and impact. The president just at the UN last year told the world about radical inclusion. And radical inclusion isn't just a random idea. It's that the things that work have to work for everyone. I do feel that when there's economic progress positively for a few, there will be civil and political chaos for the majority. So if we're speaking about new economic revolution, it has to be for everyone. It has to be inclusive, and the impacts that we speak about must be felt by everyone. And this is not too difficult really to do. We just have to shift our mindsets. We speak about critical minerals. Sierra Leone has had lots of mineral conversations. It's mostly been negative. But in cabinet recently, one of the things that His Excellency is trying to have us do is to think about what I call consensus concessions. It's so easy to speak about concessions from any one of these countries or from private sector that is 100 years, lots of waivers, employees coming from abroad, everything gets shipped out. So that's not consensus.
Bad deals, by the way, which turned things into a curse, and I think when people talk about it, so to break away from that is to stop signing bad deals.
And I think
what leverage do you have to say, listen, no, we can't do it at this rate?
I think leadership and inclusion comes back. Look, we sign. The Minister of Finance is here. We sign. We sit. We bring these agreements in. If we think about, we said investment, we think about not just pennies, but the people and the planet, then the deals and the agreements we sign with our conscience will work for the people, will bring economic value for everyone, for the investor, for the government, and the people who are there. And here's an example. Sierra Leone has, I think, a quarter of the world's deposits of rutile. Foreign companies have been mining rutile since the 1900s. The agreement that was taken to Parliament many years ago was terrible for the country. The country will export all this rutile, and we still got all these waivers and exemptions by that foreign company. Until recently, a Sierra Leonean has bought rutile, the company. And we're beginning to engage and see now how those resources get to stay in the country. We can now speak about how that ties in with energy because they are invested in energy. We can think about how they can employ people. The dynamics change. So we as a government, leadership, again, which is why I said leadership has been at the heart, and His Excellency President Bill has been doing this, investing in people, investing in planets, investing, and then the pennies, is that when we place people at the center, everyone, inclusion, we use our conscience to make sure that the deals that we sign are bringing in more energy, are tied with infrastructure, are tied with the ports that are there, are making sure that there are schools that are being built. And when that happens, our people will win. And I think then it becomes not a youth bulge, but it becomes an opportunity where young people in Sierra Leone can be the leaders. The CEO of the company is a young guy. This company I'm just talking about that was bought by a Sierra Leonean. Those things are happening, and we'll see more of it as we get more young people who are in leadership.
Yeah, and to note,
Please subscribe to my new YouTube channel Don CLIN and hit the notification bell to be notified for new videos.